Hey everybody, I hope this weekend is finding you all well. This is Chevy Cool Lady, and I appreciate your visit to Chevy Investigates and Opinionates. And I do have a question for you. What do you think about this lawsuit that JP dropped this week against the paralegal Melissa? Did you all see that interview or those series of interviews, I should say? And what did you all think?
John Paul Miller filed this lawsuit in Horry County against a woman named Melissa Mancari, who worked as a paralegal in a law firm that was in the same building as his attorney's office, Tom Winslow.
Miller went to Tom Winslow's office the other day. What did they discuss? And why was he so mad that he squealed his tires as he left after slamming his door? JP went by Tom Winslow's office and he was upset. There was witnesses that said he slammed his door and squealed his tires, and he made quite a commotion in the office. And they were talking about the mediation with Allison. That's coming up, you see. Ex parte, it was granted for the custody of the children, but that is temporary. There is going to have to be some kind of finalization. And Pastor John Paul Miller doesn't want to give up custody. Pastor John Paul Miller was whining and upset. I heard that he interrupted Tom Winslow and wouldn't let him speak. And Tom was trying to explain that these 911 calls are public record.
Okay, so apparently John Paul Miller had a hissy fit that day at Winslow office, accusing a leak for it having shared information concerning the 911 calls, um, not realizing that this is public records and they can be obtained. I guess he was frustrated with the impending custody battle as well as all of the media attention that he's gotten in the last 4 months since Micah's passing. I say keep the pressure on, people. You never know what's going to happen, but keep it within the law and keep it peaceable. We'll have progress. I promise you that. There are so many prayers going up, it's unreal. But we must consider all the possibilities and fairness of any situation. Let's go ahead and look at the uh, lawsuit that has been filed this week. Um, and we're going to take these things into consideration that have been going on in the last several weeks. Uh, I think the thing that really flipped his lid was when Paul Harvey, or I'm sorry, Robbie Harvey, released the information where he connected the dots between the different looks of his truck and the fact that he also has another truck as well as many more vehicles. I think 12 are registered to the church. But what we noticed was that his primary truck, the blue truck that he drives, um, has runners that come down and go back up and different things with the tailgate, different accessories that apparently snap on, snap off. And why? Why would he want so many different looks and change his truck so often? You know, it leads you to speculation.
Word has it that someone, again, this is allegedly, supposedly, someone didn't think very nice of a certain person who works in the Winslow office to be or not to be the lead.
She had done some interviews with two content creators, Robbie Harvey and a woman named Steph, um, because she was one of the people who said she had noticed it was changing in appearance every time she saw it. So she was kind of trying to figure out what was going on with that truck, taking pictures of it. And then that's when things kind of when those reports came out, including the report from us on that transforming truck, yeah, that's when things, she says, it appeared to hit the fan with John Paul, and she did an interview with this Steph woman that he had come into their office and basically threatened her and her boss.
Robbie Harvey's story airs detailing the questions about John Paul Miller manipulating the appearance of his truck.
Mhm.
And that story was significant because, if accurate, some of the claims in that reporting would call into question the integrity of John Paul Miller's alibi for the time his came to us on the record. And again, we're very protective of sources here. We don't share information unless they tell us to. But this was a on the record conversation. Am I correct?
Yeah, we had actually done an interview about her experience when she said, alleged that John Paul went into the office where she worked. And she was, clearly very upset, very frightened. She claimed to have experienced some very interesting things, but in the end, I just didn't feel as though I had seen enough evidence to substantiate her claims.
Yeah, so she gave the interview. You requested some follow-up documentation.
Mhm.
That was not forthcoming. And on the basis of that, you made the decision, hey, we probably shouldn't run this.
Right.
Looks like that. Okay. Well, interestingly, though, none of the media outlets, or I don't know if the TikTok interviewer, some of these TikTokers, I mean, they do amazing work and great work. I don't want to dog them out, but neither of the interviewers, their media holdings or entities are being sued. It's just this woman, correct? Is that
Correct.
struck you as odd?
I thought it was very interesting, a very interesting choice to make. I don't want to encourage him to file lawsuits. He's very cautious about how he words things, and honestly, I don't know that John Paul really wants to get into the discovery that would come along with a civil lawsuit against somebody with more resources.
There were some reports that she had indicated that FITSNews had somehow offered to pay her for her story. I want to go ahead and clear that up. We don't do that, folks. I think personally, again, I'm going to just throw my 2 cents in on why it was filed. I think he's trying to put people on notice. His attorneys have said before, we're going to sue folks who make these statements. I think this particular target is an easy target, so to speak. I think we've established. I don't think she's got massive resources anywhere. I think it's a sort of warning.
Of updates on either front. Unfortunately, I do feel very confident that the civil filings will be coming sometime in the very near future. And I can't talk a lot about what I know in relation to those, but I do think once those filings come, um, people are going to definitely see why we've been continuously pursuing this story.
Wife's death. Miller accuses Mancari of knowingly spreading false statements about him, claiming he wanted to destroy Micah. Is Miller attempting to silence critics through legal action, or is he genuinely seeking to clear his name? During an interview, Mancari recounted a conversation with Miller where he expressed a desire for legal advice on how to destroy Micah. This revelation is explosive. It shows how potentially damaging statements, even if taken out of context, can create a firestorm of speculation. It's like watching a game of telephone, where the initial message gets warped beyond recognition. This raises an important question: should individuals involved in such sensitive cases be more cautious in their conversations? It's a tangled web where emotions run high and clear reasoning often falls by the wayside. In the midst of this turmoil, Miller claims that Mancari's statements have led to harassment and threats against him. This highlights the real-world consequences that can arise from public accusation. Could Mancari's comments be viewed as contributing to a hostile environment? Or is Miller using the narrative of victimhood to garner sympathy? Miller's legal team seeks to stop Mancari from making further statements about him. This move raises the question of whether silencing individuals in the name of reputation preservation is a viable solution or merely a way to stifle dissent. The right Expert opinions suggest that proving defamation is no small feat, especially when dealing with public figures. Miller's situation may complicate his chances of success. If the court determines he is a public figure, he will need to demonstrate actual malice in Mancari's statements, a higher threshold that might not play in his favor.
How to prove defamation in court. Defamation involves making false statements that harm a person's reputation. To prove defamation in court, you must show that the statement was false. Additionally, you need to demonstrate that the statement was published to a third party, and it caused harm to your reputation. It's crucial to establish that the statement was not a protected opinion, but a false assertion of fact. Collect evidence such as witnesses, documents, or recordings to support your case. Consult with a lawyer specializing in defamation law to guide you through the legal process. Understanding the elements of defamation law and gathering strong evidence are key to proving your case successfully in court.
Some news overnight and this morning. John Paul Miller has filed a lawsuit against Melissa, the paralegal, claiming defamation, looking for upwards of $6 million in damages. Melissa stands by what she has said on Steph's case files and myself. And by the way, she has stated to me prior to our interview that the intake form that she took in with John Paul Miller is there against John Paul Miller. And so if Melissa has evidence to support the allegations, then we'll see what happens. If any witness has lied in this case, shame on you. No matter what we believe John Paul is and what he has done, any witness lying is not fair to John Paul. It's not fair to Micah. It's not fair to the alleged witnesses coming forward. It's not fair to the people who are trying to stand up for truth. It's not fair.
In conclusion, what we're finding out is that John Paul Miller has definitely filed suit against Melissa, the paralegal who worked in the same building as the Winslow office. From there, apparently, she did take some photographs of his truck. She did have interviews with both Steph case file and the Robbie Harvey, in which she made a lot of allegations, saying that when he called looking for an attorney, she said he used words like, "I need a shark to destroy Micah." She came out with further allegations insinuating her own opinions concerning his alleged guilt in the death of his wife. Now, we say she's entitled to her opinion. Everybody should have the right to free speech. All that's true, but when it comes to bringing down someone's reputation, causing damage or malice to an individual, there are legal lines. Did she cross those lines? What do you think? Now, perhaps because of her position working in a law office, that puts her in a different category. She didn't just come by this information on the street, or because of personal knowledge. This was done in an office setting where there is such a thing called client confidentiality, although she wasn't an attorney, and that's generally what you would think it would apply to. Does it apply to paralegals, secretary, other people in the office? Are they just allowed to blob out any opinion that they might have on someone who calls in, as long as they're not a client? That doesn't seem right. I don't know. I have my opinions on it, and I did see the interviews. I did think she came across a little too confident, a little too knowledgeable, perhaps seeking her own 15 minutes of fame right in this case. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for joining me today. I will continue to cover this case as well as others, and I sure appreciate you. Please do me a big favor. Hit the thumbs up. Please like and please subscribe. Be part of the coolest community. We are building from the ground up. Thanks so much. I love you guys. Peace out. Have a great week.